Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Nick, and as always, if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Thank you. Today we're flying over HS2 at Old Oak Common to get an update in December 2024. And as you can see, we're taking off just opposite the offices for the Old Oak Common site. Now before we go any further, I want to show you some map orientation of where we're taking off from and where we'll be flying to. And as you can see from the map, there's our takeoff point for today's flight. And from this position, we'll be looking directly east over the entire site and then returning back the way we came. And this is a picture of the projected final product. And we're taking off from the right hand side of this picture, where it says towards Old Oak Common Lane. As we return back to our drone flight today, we can see that the once open to the air station carcass has now been covered. And we can see that multiple levels have been installed down through the gaps where we can see through. Although there does appear to be a lot of rebar hanging around on the surface, so perhaps there's still a fair bit of internal work to be completed. As we move on eastwards, we can see work is ongoing. We can even see the crane on the right hand side carrying some items to go down into the tunnel. As we look up, we begin to see where the new transport interchange hub will be located, and the beginnings of that building are starting to become visible in this image. If you were to freeze frame the image just now, this will be where the new transport hub building will be in its entirety. The new transport hub's purpose will be to interchange between buses, taxis and the underground high-speed 2, along with the current Great Western Railway main lines. The large opening now just coming into shot is the very beginning of the new station building and station concourse. This area will include the entrance and main facade to the station itself. Flying over this section, we can see the areas for the escalators and the elevators, along with a footbridge to cross the different tracks on different platforms. This area, as we begin to pan up, the station concourse will extend to the right hand side. This will allow a direct undercover path to the platforms at Old Oak Common Station, which will serve the Great Western Main Line. And to be able to facilitate this, the Great Western Main Line is closing on some weekends and diverting trains into other London termini. As we look down into these next holes, we can see the platforms being constructed. And it's around this area that the main concourse will finish, and the platforms will extend underground to accommodate the type of length of train needed. And it's here at this end you can just about see the tunnel portal that will be extending to London Euston, which has now been reapproved by the current Labour government under Rachel Reeves as the Chancellor of the Exchequer. And please forgive me for what may be verging on the point of opinion, but all we have left now is to hope that they can complete this section within the next 5 years, before the next election cycle commences. I know the House of Lords is meant to balance this out for more longer term goals, but at current it doesn't appear to be working, as the plans for High Speed 2 have been on and off and on and off, increasing the costs exponentially on what was originally projected. Now as we fly back over Old Oak Common to the western end, we get to take a look at what we've already seen in the other direction. In fact, looking in from this direction, we get a slightly better view of what's down inside the station carcass at this time. And it's flying back up this way, but begin to see on the left hand side the inbuilt concrete production facility on site, and the sheer extent of the project at hand. Now as we come into land on this end of the Old Oak Common site, I just invite you to take a watch, just to see the local area and what it looks like as we come down. Shortly, we'll be taking off again on the other side of Old Oak Common site, to see the western portals and the progress of work so far on that end. And here we can see those works from afar on the western end, where we can also see the conveyor belts taking all of the waste soil away, which is being taken to High Speed 2's freight yard on the West Coast Main Line. And now we're ready to take off on the western end of High Speed 2 at Old Oak Common. As we begin to take some altitude, we can see the crane system here, which I think is something to be admired. And we'll get to see some of that in use as we fly over. As we look down now, we can see the sliding crane gantries, which are being used to lower material down into the western portal of High Speed 2. We can see on the right hand side as well, there is a load of tunnel lining concrete pieces, and the cranes are lowering these down batch by batch, behind the tunnel boring machines, which are making their way out towards the west. As we fly over towards the eastbound side of this western portal, we can see those conveyor belts taking the soil away, and they're currently working very hard, as we can see later in the picture when we descend a bit lower to get a better view. And as we begin to pan around, we can see the benefits of High Speed 2, as it's begun a complete regeneration of the area, and economic development is very evident, as we can see so many buildings being built at this time ready for High Speed 2 when it opens. High Speed 2 in Old Oak Common should turn this area into the next must-be location for a lot of the UK's businesses. As we begin to reverse our journey now towards the east, looking west, we can see down into the western tunnel portal, and where those conveyor belts are taking the soil from. And here we look down the very western end service shaft, which is the final evidence of High Speed 2 at Old Oak Common on the western end. Now there's a lot more footage to come, including watching the cranes working hard away at lowering in all of the equipment needed for the tunnelling. But this is the point where I'm going to stop speaking and allow you to just watch the works happen. And again, as always, if you liked what you see, hit the like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and take care. Bye bye.